TKO as a whole is getting desperate as the weeks and weeks go closer to WrestleMania 42. So WrestleMania 42, as you guys know, it's basically the show's is dealing with a ticket sale crisis, if you really think about it. Now, the show is not selling horribly bad. Like, it's not like AEW levels of horrible, as you know. It's not AEW level of bad, but you know, in terms of WWE standards and the standards that TKO want in terms of how many tickets they want sold for this show, it's bad in their eyes. And it also is bad in a lot of wrestling fans' eyes, considering the fact that TKO has been pricing out fans for a while, ever since TKO took over WWE, I believe, in late 2023. They've slowly but surely started to outprice the entire fan base for these tickets. But WWE WrestleMania 42 tickets are selling at a slower pace. According to Wrestling Observer Newsletter's Dave Meltzer, WrestleMania tickets did not sell quickly, even with a 25% discount for 4 days over Valentine's Day weekend. Quote by Dave Meltzer, he stated this, and I quote, "There's been little new regarding WrestleMania at this point. No new matches have even been hinted at. Ticket sales are actually worse than what we had last week. Over Valentine's Day weekend, all seat prices were cut only for the weekend, meaning February 13th to February 16th. There appeared to be zero movement at the lower prices, and in fact, last week's number was a higher estimate than it was the case. The most recent report on ticket sales shows that the April 18th show sold 35,690 tickets, while the April 19th show sold 36,372 tickets. When you combine the numbers, that puts WrestleMania 42 down 19.3% from last year's pace. Prices for WrestleMania tickets remain high, with the entry price being at $264 for the Night 1 show and $276 for the April 19th show in Las Vegas. An anonymous source in WWE, considered a higher up in the company, had this remark for the Wrestling Observer, and they stated this, and I quote, "The audience is there. Are they inclined to pay $10 gazillion for tickets? To date, only the CM Punk and Roman Reigns match has been confirmed for WrestleMania 42. Punk is defending the World Heavyweight title against Finn Balor at the Elimination Chamber on February 28th, so that could change, but it appears unlikely. On Monday, February 23rd, the episode of Raw will feature the Women's Royal Rumble winner, Liv Morgan, choosing her WrestleMania 42 opponent, likely being Stephanie Vaquer. More big matches are expected to be announced soon after the Elimination Chamber PLE on February 28th. Why am I mentioning WrestleMania, and, you know, why am I mentioning it again? This is actually going to be the segue into our topic regarding the Elimination Chamber. You guys already know my stance about WrestleMania. Look, there's just no excitement about WrestleMania 42. There just isn't. There is no excitement about WrestleMania 42 whatsoever. If you look at the excitement going into WrestleMania 41 last year, there was some excitement there, but as the build for WrestleMania 41 was, you know, going closer and closer, or headed closer to that said show last year, the hype started to die down. This year is a little different because there's just really no hype, you know, around WrestleMania. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the show is going to be taking place in Las Vegas for a second year in a row. And when WWE announced that WrestleMania 42 was going to be taking place in Las Vegas for a second year in a row, that pissed a lot of fans off. It pissed a lot of fans off, considering the fact that, of course, they know going in that WrestleMania tickets are going to be expensive. But if you look at the economy over in Las Vegas right now, tourism for Las Vegas is actually down this year compared to last year. And if you also look at it from, you know, if you're bringing a whole family, for example, you're bringing your wife, your wife, and maybe 2 kids, you're probably spending well over $1,000 just for tickets alone. And that's not including hotels, travel, of course, food. I mean, Vegas is no dope. Like, Vegas is expensive. Vegas is expensive at the end of the day. And WWE and TKO expect people to pay at least almost maybe double the money that they were spending last year for WrestleMania. And people were complaining last year. What do you think is going to happen this year? What do you think is going to happen this year? Look, at the end of the day, WWE is paying the consequences for their own greed. But do you honestly care that people think that they're greedy? No, they don't care. They do not care at all, because at the end of the day, it's all about the dollars and the cents. It's not about the quality of the show, unfortunately. It's not about the fan experience. As much as they love to tout about the fan experience, they don't care about the fan experience. They just want your money, and that's it. They don't care about the fan experience whatsoever. But this is going to lead into our next topic, and our next topic is actually going to be about Elimination Chamber, which is actually kind of our first topic on this show, but whatever. Elimination Chamber, of course, is going to be taking place, of course, this Saturday at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Yes, the United Center. Yes, that same arena where CM Punk made his return to professional wrestling all those years ago, back in 2021. I can remember vividly where I was during that show. It was an unforgettable night, an amazing moment when CM Punk came back to professional wrestling. Well, as you guys all know, TKO have been doing very shady tactics in terms of Las Vegas by basically restricting a lot of local businesses 50 miles within Allegiant Stadium. And they are basically banning those small businesses from airing WrestleMania, even though they are paying a licensing fee to possibly air that show. WWE is basically doing the same thing with Elimination Chamber. So from what it looks like, this is going to be the norm for not just these big shows like WrestleMania or Elimination Chamber. This is going to be for every single WWE PLE. I'm reading this from the takedown on Sports Illustrated. New controversial WWE policy reportedly in place for Elimination Chamber. A new controversial WWE protocol that was put in place for WrestleMania 42 this April appears to be also in effect for the Elimination Chamber next weekend in Chicago, Illinois. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select reported earlier this month that any venue within 50 miles of Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas will be unable to broadcast this year's Showcase of the Immortals, even if they pay a licensing fee. This practice essentially wipes out localized watch parties. The belief was that it was being done to increase ticket sales for the event, which are lagging behind where sales were for WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas at this time last year. Furthermore, Sean Ross Sapp is now reporting that the new blackout policy is going to be in effect for the Elimination Chamber as well. A quote by Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, he stated this, and I quote, "We are told that there are Elimination Chamber watch parties in the Chicago area also being blocked due to WWE's new blackout rules in an effort to increase ticket sales. Ticket information tracker WrestleTix released a new report on Elimination Chamber on Friday evening that showed 14,895 tickets for the event has been moved thus far. The current show is set up for 17,016, which leaves a little over 2,100 tickets still available now a week out from the show going live on ESPN. The high cost for tickets for WWE events has been a hot topic of conversation amongst wrestling fans recently. As of this writing, the cheapest seat available for the Elimination Chamber through Ticketmaster will cost you around $261. As you can imagine, news of the watch party blackouts for local markets have not been received well online. And a lot of people have been very, very, very upset. People need to understand about this, or really WWE needs to understand this, because I haven't personally gone to like watch parties at like local bars, which I really want to. I know AEW does these watch parties at like the local Dave and Buster's and all that stuff, but WWE primarily, there's always, any bar you go to, there's always watch parties, especially near the area of where that PLE is being held. This is only going to upset a lot of people. This is only going to upset a lot of people even further, and it's only going to backfire on WWE. Because what WWE is telling you right now, is, yeah, you had that cheaper option, but we're going to take it away because we want you to spend more money to go to our event, even though we are already outpricing you. They do not care. They do not care. They absolutely do not care whatsoever. Now, there was this tweet, and I'm actually reading this from the same article from the Takedown on Sports Illustrated. They actually posted a bunch of reactions on X regarding this whole new decision. Dante Toro at Dante Ontech on X stated this, and I quote, "So WWE is going to black out an ESPN product that they're making millions from local bars and restaurants so people can spend 10 times more of the money on tickets. It's concerning how greedy they've become." JPJ Loves Gaming on X stated this, and I quote, "WWE blacking out watch parties so people have to either spend money for the ESPN app, which, by the way, costs $30 a month, or buy their overpriced tickets because sales are low. Scum-ass behavior all around." Trev the Beast on X stated this, and I quote, "Someone in WWE saw how everyone hated MLB's blackout problem and said, 'Oh, why didn't we think of that?' Genuinely, some of the most incompetent people are in charge over there." Yeah, that's basically what is going on in the TKO realm. You want to know why tickets are down? You want to know why ticket sales are down? It's because of the fact that, number one, the product is just not as interesting. If anything, the product is more boring than ever. I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched a single Raw, a single SmackDown in full throughout the last couple of months. And the reason why is because of the fact that I just cannot fathom watching these shows in full. I just can't. I can't fathom watching these shows in full. I just cannot. I cannot bear. I cannot just sit through 2.5 hours of bull crap on a weekly basis, especially twice a week. Now, I watch Dynamite in full. I only watch Dynamite in full on a weekly basis because at least Dynamite, even though there's some crap on that show sometimes, at least the majority of the show is interesting. At least, and also I get great in-ring wrestling as well. WWE, on the other hand, it's just constant aura farming. It's just stuff that just doesn't really matter besides, the main event title picture, which I feel like is kind of lacking as well on WWE programming. But, there's really nothing interesting right now in terms of the WWE product. Nothing interesting whatsoever. We got CM Punk versus Roman Reigns as the main event of WrestleMania 42, which I believe is the right decision for the main event of WrestleMania 42, by the way. And I thought the segment between Roman and Punk was fantastic. But my biggest concern regarding the build for that match is Roman Reigns' schedule, because we all know Roman Reigns' schedule is very limited. Very, very, very limited. So how many appearances is Roman Reigns going to make throughout the majority of this build for this match that they're going to be having at WrestleMania? That's a big question. Everything else on the show is just not as interesting to me. There's nothing that piques my interest regarding the WWE product. I have been disenfranchised with the WWE product for months at this point. Ever since SummerSlam, and really starting around mid last year, I was just starting to slowly fade away from the WWE product. Why? Because again, they constantly tout about how successful they are, and it's starting to get annoying. The aura farming is absolutely insane. If you watch a WWE show and you can point out the amount of times they aura farm, oh my God, it's insane. They aura farm so much on those shows. I've never seen aura farming so much in my life than watching a WWE show. It's insane. We get great matches there and there. The talent is fantastic. It's just they don't feel important at all. And a lot of times when you watch these shows and you watch a talent that you love, you see them coming out to dead reactions and you're like, what's the point of watching this? You know what I'm saying? The product, in my opinion, in a way, is kind of at an all-time low. The entrances in WWE's mind are more important. Singing with the crowd is more important than the actual show itself, than, watching the actual match. The entrances are more important than the matches themselves nowadays. That's what kind of sucks about WWE. And a year ago, I didn't say that. But now I'm starting to feel the effects of that, and I'm like, okay, I've seen this over and over and over again. Also, another issue that has been plaguing the WWE product is the fact that there's a lot of sameness. There's a lot of sameness in the product. Not only that, they do not know how to take risks. And I've been saying this for months. WWE does not know how to take risks in their product. You watch an AEW show, right? And I don't care what anybody says. You can call me an AEW fanboy all you want. Bro, I'll be the first one to tell you, I was AEW's biggest supporter from 2019 to like 2022. But I will be the first one to admit 2024 was their lowest point. I will say that because I'm honest. But when you watch an AEW show now and you look at the main event scene, I mean, the main event scene is just freaking stacked. Not only that, you get a bang for your buck. Not only attending their shows, because they're basically more than half, less than half of the price of an average WWE PLE, but you get more quality in the shows. When you watch a WWE premium live event, think about this. When you watch a premium live event, you see more advertisements. You see more advertisements on the show than the show itself. The PLEs, the premium live events, do not feel premium whatsoever. You're just watching commercial after commercial after commercial. And WWE wonders why that their ticket sales are slow. They wonder why. It's because all across the board, from the product standpoint to them at pricing their fans, to the show basically being one big giant commercial, everything about this is just like it's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore. It's repetitive. And it's annoying. It's gotten so bad to the point where people are advocating for the return of Vince McMahon. It's gotten so point that it makes Vince McMahon look good. Which, by the way, his the body cam in video came out earlier this week about Vince McMahon's car accident. It was crazy, but that's another story for another time. But yeah, TKO's business tactics make Vince McMahon, who's a piece of garbage, look good. You must sink to a whole new low if you are wanting people to bring back Vince McMahon. Now, I am not advocating for the return of Vince McMahon. I'm not advocating for the return of Vince McMahon whatsoever because he single-handedly destroyed his own product. And a lot of these people are constantly hating on Triple H, and trust me, there's a lot of things that you may not like about Triple H, but be honest with yourself. The product was so much better, especially those first few years when Triple H took the book. The product was leagues better than what Vince McMahon produced. I don't care what anybody says. Has it been better now? No, it hasn't. Now it's gone to the point where people are starting to wake up, and people are starting to basically, question Triple H's leadership. Now, I'm going to say this. Do I think all of this is Triple H's fault? No. Do we have to point some of the blame to Triple H? Yes. But at the same time, he has people above him. People need to understand that Triple H is only the head of creative. And the business model for WWE is vastly different than the business model 20 years ago. WWE basically relies on the brand name of WWE nowadays. That's it. Yes, there are draws. Yes, there are matches that, they're able to sell tickets for. But WWE relies heavily on the brand name of WWE, and that's how they've been so successful throughout the last couple of years. Also because of the fact that they've been, strong in storylines. A lot that has a large portion of that as well. But WWE relies on the brand name of WWE, and that can only take you so far. Again, these premium live events are basically a living commercial. Commercials after commercials after commercial. It's absolutely ridiculous. Paying $30 for number one, if you watch these pay-per-views on ESPN or if you watch these pay-per-views on Netflix internationally, it's basically the same thing. On ESPN, you get pay-per-views constantly. And on Netflix, you're basically, there's just a big-ass gap in between the matches because they barely give you any matches for these shows, and it's starting to become more and more and more noticeable. 4 matches on a card, like, when it was NXT, when NXT had their takeover shows, they only had like 4 to 5 matches on a card. But those were matches that mattered. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still an advocate for that amount for a PLE, but when these matches like just make you not care, I mean, what's the point of really caring? WWE gives you less for a premium product. That's the problem. They give you less for a premium product. Everything about this is crazy. The fact that WWE are basically exposing themselves for the greedy people that they are and not care and actually want to penalize you, the consumer. They want to penalize you for not wanting to spend an enormous amount of money is baffling to me. They're doing this in Vegas, they're doing this for Chicago, and they're going to do this for all of their events. It's bullcrap. And with all due respect, for lack of a better term, it's bullshit. Yeah, I said it. It's bullshit. WWE, TKO, they are punishing you, the consumer. They are punishing you, the consumer, for not wanting to spend thousands of dollars on one ticket. For a show that is supposed to be premium, but it really isn't premium in reality. That's the state of WWE in 2026.